I think in today's culture, especially with us seeing everyone's big wins, it's very easy to fall into that all or nothing trap. And we forget that every little bit adds up. Everything counts. And so I think we should also apply that to life too, that every effort you put in counts, whether it looks like a big win or a small win, or if it's just a step on the journey.
Spread good, baby.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of the Spread Good podcast. My name is Brodi Nicholas, joined by none other than Mr. Celebrate Life. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Doing great. I got the new hoodie on. The winter line just dropped.
I'm excited for it. If you have not checked out the winter line, be sure to at spreadgoodsquad.com. We got the crews, the hats, the hoodies. We even have the sweats. Oh, where's it? We don't have the sweats on.
Nope.
All right, well, we'll rep next episode, but be sure to check it out. But without further ado, we have an awesome guest, Savi Win, trainer, model, so many things. Really excited to get to know you. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Of course. Thank you for being here. I guess before we jump into career stuff, tell us a little bit about where you're from.
So I'm originally from Orange. It's a little town in Orange County, as you guys are familiar being local. And now I live in Newport Beach, so not too far away.
Newport's awesome.
It's a good spot. It's safe, yeah.
Yeah, do you go to the beach a lot?
I do, actually, because I feel like we're so fortunate to live where we do and have access to the beach all the time. It's easy to take for granted and forget about. So I try to make it a point to at least get my cardio in or even just sit and reflect or journal by the beach. So I don't go in the ocean or on the sand as much as I would like, but it's nice to go there and appreciate what we have.
I love that. Speaking of the ocean, I know you mentioned not going in much, but do you cold plunge ever?
No,
Okay.
I get cold very easily. It's a very uncomfortable spot for me, but if I have access to it and it's available, I won't say no to it.
Cool.
Do you?
Yeah. My friend actually works for this company called Plunge. I guess they're like the big plunge company. Mm-hmm. And their headquarters is in Lincoln. So when I go up there, he gets me in and we like plunge.
How often do you do it?
Well, on my own, not as often as we should. After I did it, I got super into it. So I was doing it like every day in my bathtub, which isn't very effective. But me and my fiance have been trying to go once a week just into the ocean.
Yeah.
But it's actually, for the first time, it's not that cold right now. It used to be really cold in the ocean. And now I feel like it's like kind of like lukewarm.
I don't like the cold. It hurts my bones.
Yeah, I can relate there, but I think it is awesome for all the benefits, of course, and then also experiencing that discomfort under control and being able to do it every day. I prefer to experience discomfort in other ways that don't involve cold, but...
For sure. And the way we do it when we go up to plunge is like we'll do like a 5 to 10 minute, just like quick pump. And then we'll do 15 minutes in the sauna, and then we'll do 3 minutes in 50 degrees and 3 minutes in 40 degrees.
Oh my goodness, that sounds...
So you got to do it.
Not how I want to start my day.
That's a lot.
No, but I know we've talked about this before, but I read somewhere where like drinking a beer, you get an 8-minute dopamine rush. But by cold plunging, it's like a 2-hour dopamine rush. And I don't know if that's a placebo effect, but when I did it, I felt really good all day. It really sets your day up.
So for me, I don't like the cold so much that I would rather do the most painful, gruesome 1 rep max of a squat to get that dopamine rush than that kind.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of why I stay in Orange County. So I was born and raised here, and I've never really had a desire to live somewhere else. I think traveling is amazing and one of the best ways you can educate yourself and grow your cultural awareness. But as far as where I'm based out of, I really like being here for the weather.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
60 degrees is cold for me. 70 degrees is cold sometimes. But I have a little fitness quiz for you guys. Ooh. Both of you guys are really into fitness, so let's see who will win this quiz. All right. Which fitness program was initially designed for military training?
HIIT? I don't know.
It's like a German kind of training.
Oh, CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which workout claims to burn up to 1,000 calories in 50 minutes?
Strength training? Resistance training?
F45 workout.
Oh,
Oh.
my sister runs one of those. Not sponsored, but shout out Brittany.
I thought you were
We
gonna
gotta
know
have
that
like
one.
a ABC
Yeah,
poll
okay,
thing
there we
going
go. Yeah,
on.
let's
Oh
get
man,
some.
I don't have the ABCs on here. All right, which muscle in the body is the strongest?
Your heart?
Gluteus maximus.
Oh, it's the biggest. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're 0 for 3. What is the term for exercise that requires oxygen?
Wait, say what?
What is the term for exercise that requires oxygen?
Cardio?
I was gonna say that cardio. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did
It's
we really-
aerobic exercise.
All right, there we go.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. All right. What is the term for exercise that builds muscle through tension?
Resistance training.
There you go. All right. Last one. What piece of gym equipment was invented by a Soviet scientist to help cosmonauts maintain muscle in zero gravity?
Kettlebell.
There you go.
Oh, I got one.
Whoa, good
tied
job.
up, tied up.
Look at that
We
history.
started slow.
So
we
there's
started
no-
slow,
There's
but
no tiebreaker.
no.
Oh, all right.
1-1. Tie.
Guess we got to bring it back someday. Yep, we're 2-2.
Or we both win. We can
There
all
we go.
win.
There we go.
Everyone
All
wins. So, Savi, what got you into fitness?
So I grew up as an athlete, so I played a lot of sports. I did things like ballet, softball, gymnastics, cheerleading, and those were all through school and with my school friends. I traveled to compete and stuff like that, but I graduated high school early, and so my sports career ended early. I never intended on pursuing it professionally as a long-term thing. And so as a naturally active person, I turned to the gym because I didn't have sports anymore. And then I stuck with it, fell in love with resistance training because it started with a way to be active and get to know myself better physically outside of games and performance, and ended up in turn letting me get to know myself internally too. So it's just, I stuck with it ever since.
Nice. And as far as like doing sports and team, how does that translate to what you're doing in fitness now?
It translates in which I think it set a really good foundation for my dedication and discipline and my commitment to continue doing things even when they are hard, to do it not only for myself but for others. Even outside of a team, just showing up as your best self is how you're going to show up for the people around you too. And then I think that poured into the rest of my life too, and how I'm able to achieve the things that I do, build the goals that I have, and it pours into my career, my relationships, the way I treat myself.
I love that. And is that what really inspired you into getting into coaching, to give other people that perspective and that mindset?
Oh, absolutely. I've always had a soft spot for fitness and taking care of yourself, but all the things that came beyond the physical are what got me into coaching. I wanted to give back what fitness gave to me.
That's super cool. Yeah.
So you're coaching, do you coach mainly women or men as well?
Yeah, I train mostly women.
Nice. And why did you choose to just concentrate on women?
So I want to specialize in a specific area and niche down in that for business purposes, and also because that's where I can be the best coach. And so it's a lot harder to be good at a bunch of things. And so by narrowing down on this one thing in an area where I can personally empathize and I've experienced the empowerment that comes from it, I wanted to focus on women.
And working with these women, like, was there a moment, like, after whether it's a month or two, seeing that testimonial, and like, I don't know, how does that feel to see like your client testimonials?
Oh my gosh, it is the best feeling in the world to be able to give ethical guidance through fitness training and their fitness journeys, because I experienced firsthand what it was like growing up with people I trusted to be the experts, not really know what they were talking about, and be given a lot of misinformation, given it is difficult to do research and stuff, but I wanted to be able to expedite their journeys through my personal experience, all the mistakes I made, all the things I had to unlearn, the way I've learned to do proper research. So yeah.
That's really cool. And as you've gotten these testimonials, like, I'm sure you've seen some really big like transformations.
Yes.
With people.
So it's the best feeling, because it's amazing to see someone choose themselves. You know, we're given one life, one body, And it's for some reason so easy to not choose what's best for it. And so by guiding them through that dedication and commitment, it's like they've been able to reclaim their lives in so many ways. And I've seen it pour into the rest of their lives too, similar to mine. So I love seeing, like, I have this one client that I always remember as I go through everyone else's journeys. She was one of my very first clients in online coaching. And her name's Lindsay, and she got amazing results. She definitely transformed physically. She got way stronger, way leaner. Her butt's way bigger now. But what I remember her for is what her fitness journey taught her about herself and how she was able to get her to know herself that way. So she did things like leaving a toxic relationship that she knew wasn't positively serving her anymore. She left her career that she had worked on her entire life, that her family worked on, that she spent several years in school over to pursue passion instead. And she's just genuinely living her best life. And she found that through fitness. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's really cool.
I'm big about living through passion because, like you said, you only get one life. And to spend it not doing what you want or how you want to do it is, yeah, it's tough to swallow.
For sure. But I think when you pursue passion and attach to something like leaving an impact versus money and popularity, that's one of the most effective things you can do. And so I think that's what ends up catapulting the career. And so it's almost counterintuitive to chase something else.
So when you say fitness with self-love, what does that really mean?
So to me, I think that self-discipline is one of the greatest forms of self-love that you can give yourself. To be able to choose yourself every day and serve yourself, whether that means saying no to things that you want to do in the moment and say yes to the things that are going to serve you long term. I think that's an amazing decision, and to do it day in and day out, because if we could all just wake up and be super strong, super hot, look really fit, we probably wouldn't be working out. But to be able to put yourself through the hard things, like waking up early, even when your bed is feeling extra comfy that morning, to go to the gym, to do those 1 rep maxes we were talking about that make you feel like you're struggling. But once you accomplish it, it means the most.
I've actually never heard anybody say it like that. Self-discipline is self-love. And I really agree with that. I think that's huge because that's something, to be honest, I've actually struggled with discipline as much as I've built and done. I really do have a lot of lazy moments. And fitness really has done that for me, is giving me that discipline. Like my fiance, she goes to the gym at 5 a.m. every single day because she works in Mission Viejo, so she has to get it early. So I'm motivated by her. And then so now when I wake up, I'll do the 6 a.m. or even 7:15 sometimes. But I'll be honest, sometimes I wake up and I do not want to do this. But it is the best feeling after the warm-up's done and the lifts are going. And then the best feeling is when I'm done and then my day is just fired up and it's only 8 o'clock.
Right. And I bet you've never regretted a workout either.
Exactly. So,
and it's I love that fitness is such a tangible form of that. Of course, there are so many ways to build self-discipline and self-love, things like commitment and dedication. But what I love about doing it through health and fitness is not only that you're taking care of your mind and body through it, but it's very tangible and measurable. And so not that all things have to be that, but it makes it easier. And then that's where the habits and the lifestyle come in, because you can see your number going weight on the barbell. You can see how clothes are fitting better. You can feel how you're moving more comfortably and you have more energy. So it's just very tangible.
For sure. And results are addicting, right? So when you see like the body fat go down or your PRs go up or whatever your goal is in fitness, it's pretty motivating. And I know we've had times in the gym, like when we have worked out together, like, and get on streaks, it's fun.
Yeah. It's really motivating. I think for me and for maybe some other people, the physical part of it isn't as much as the mental part of it. Like feeling good about yourself after a workout, feeling good about, I ran a mile for 8 minutes or 7 minutes, whatever it is. I think that really serves the person who's working out. And I just think about my wife. So my wife, she has 3 kids. Our youngest is turning 4 months. She has her own business. She has a event planning business. So it's hard for her to find the time to work out. But she always talks about, like, she wants to work out. We bought a little treadmill for inside the house so she could walk. And I know that's part of your business is helping women balancing their careers. What would you say to my wife to like help her start to get back into it?
So I would break it down into steps because just like anything, when you're trying to go after the big thing all at once, it's really difficult. Like if you guys remember back in school, if you're trying to be a master at every single subject, you probably wouldn't be that great at any of them. But that's why we choose one major and become a master at it. And then it sets us up to become better at the things around us too. So I like to break it down into steps and see where she specifically is. And so if just getting started and being consistent is the first thing, then I would encourage her to do whatever makes her feel good. So that way she can build that habit of doing it as frequently as she would like. And then from there, continue tailoring it towards her specific goals. So just starting with baby steps.
Nice. Yeah, that's why we got the little treadmill. She's trying to walk a few minutes every day. So, yeah, I mean, I think she wants a coach, so maybe we'll hit you up.
Yeah, I would love to.
No, and I love that you brought up walking because I feel like that's a super. What am I trying to say? Like a cardio.
Underrated.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That like underrated cardio. So we have this huge state park, which we're really blessed to have in front of our place, and we walk it like twice a day. Right now it's like once because the sun's going down so early, but like that's like a few hundred calories a day just in walking, which is also really good mentally just to like, I don't know, sometimes I'll scroll on TikTok or sometimes I'll just think about like the rest of my day. And if I'm burning a few hundred calories while doing that, it's easy. And I actually, coincidentally enough, had one of our moms from the charity hit me up yesterday, and she was so excited to tell me like, Brodi, the last 2 weeks I've walked five days out of the week. Because I'm always like hyping them up about just getting out there. And it's huge because that 2 weeks turns into 3 weeks, it turns into 4 weeks, that turns into the rest of your life.
Yeah, it all adds up. Like you said, your wife is doing at least a few minutes a day. And I think in today's culture, especially with us seeing everyone's big wins, it's very easy to fall into that all or nothing trap. And we forget that every little bit adds up. Like burning just a few hundred calories from walking in pair with your normal fitness routine, everything counts. And so I think we should also apply that to life too, that every effort you put in counts, whether it looks like a big win or a small win, or if it's just a step on the journey.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think sometimes it's hard to see, especially for somebody that's starting from ground zero. They see like these fitness influencers online and, you work out so hard for one day and then there's no results. And you do that for like 5 days and there's no results, but there really is because like 2, 3, 4 weeks, you start to see it. And I think once people get into that, because what is it? Is it 2 weeks to build a habit or is it more than that?
I think it's
I think I
More than
believe
that,
they
or-
say it's 21 days to
21
build a
days.
habit, 90 days to build a lifestyle.
Right. And once you get to that point, it's just like you really start to see the results. But I think that's the hardest point to get to. But it's just that you talked about it, the mental
Yeah, I think,
hardship.
and you talk about social media and seeing all these people who are so fit online, it probably gives people pause and makes them, like, oh, I have to dedicate a year of my life to this. But if they really want to do it, they'll do it. But what would you say to women who see other women on social media who are just super fit? Like, how do you mentally, like, block that out, I guess?
So in fitness and in life, I would teach them to not rely on short-term and instant gratification and to focus on the long-term picture. So things like building a healthy family, creating a business, all those things are so not glamorous at the beginning and you don't see it until way later. So we have to remember that with our fitness journey too. These results take time and you wouldn't want overnight results even if you could have them either because you couldn't keep them. You need to establish those habits and build the routine.
I love that.
So
Because,
good.
yeah, I mean, my wife built her business, our family, it takes a lot of work, but to get to the beautiful part of it, it's a long-term goal. So I love that.
So with your style of coaching, have you had any like big influences?
Oh, for sure. I've been so fortunate to connect with amazing mentors who have helped me throughout the journey. I mean, as a coach, I believe in coaching so much that I have coaches because I'm always looking to grow as a coach too. And I would say the one that stands out to me the most is my coach, Brett Contreras. He's played a significant role in both my fitness journey and my business and just me as a person because he's also my friend. And that's what I aspire to be with all of my clients too, because I think there are so many good coaches. There are so many incredible coaches, but then what differentiates you is you as a person and the way you're able to connect with people. And especially with our world being so online these days, I mean, my business is an online business. It's really important to reinforce those things.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And when you got into the fitness world out of high school, did you try a bunch of different types of gyms, or did you kind of know what you wanted and stuck with it?
So out of high school, I was actually working a different job. I was in operations, not so glamorous, but I loved my job and I had a great pay. It was awesome. I liked the people around me, but I always saw fitness as more of a passion. In my mind, I thought of it as more of a traditional route in which you build your normal brick and mortar businesses, you build capital, you invest it, and then passions are hobbies, not careers. But I always trained people on the side just out of feeling good, honestly. I was helping them, but I was helping myself through it too. I always had clients who were friends, mutual friends, or referrals, and they were people who needed to be healthy. So I remember I had one friend who had gained probably 80 pounds after going through some depression from a breakup, and she needed to be healthy and learn how to choose herself and feel better emotionally, mentally, physically. I had another client who had an immune disorder, so she also needed to be healthy. And so those are things that I was happy to do on the side at the end of the day. And then it didn't become a full-time career until 2020, because at the time, I wasn't really looking for another job. I loved my attachment to fitness that I had. I still got to experience it every day. Super blessed to be able to do that. And I thought that the ceiling for fitness in terms of career was being a personal trainer. And I didn't see how you could scale that because there are only so many hours in a day. There's only one Savi. And so I never really thought about pursuing it as a career. And in 2020, that was the first time in a while that I had a lot of time on my hands because I left school early. I started work really soon. I got my first job when I was 15. I was Ubering back and forth from work, and then got my car when I was 16. I've been working since then. But I still am a pretty private person, so I wasn't on social media very much. I thought that if you had 10,000 followers, you were walking on the street getting recognized. And so I had no idea this other world and all the opportunity that it had. So then I built my Instagram, and my goal was just to give back what fitness gave me. I thought of all times during COVID when we were sheltered in place and everything. It was a time in need for people to get fit physically and mentally. And so I figured if I could share my experience and help people, that'd be awesome. And then I'd delete my Instagram and life would go back to normal. I was in denial a little bit. And then it ended up working out really well. I was able to connect to those mentors that I mentioned, and I fell in love with it, and I saw so much more opportunity. So I was like, wow, like, I think this is it for me. I want this. And what better job could I have than helping other people succeed? That's so cool. And I figured I couldn't move forward with one foot stuck in the other door. So I called my coach, I called Brett, and I was like, hey, I have this idea, and I think this is for me. And he's like, I think you're right. And I was like, okay, well, one foot stuck in the other door, so I'm going to quit my job and do this full time. And I just did it.
Nice.
I love that story. I love that because you just made it happen. And you just followed your heart and what you wanted to do, and now you're spreading good for so many people while living your best life, which is what life's all about.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. I think everyone, if they had a choice to work on their passion every day, I think everyone would want to do that. So yeah, that's amazing.
That's cool that you found a way.
Oh my gosh, it's like an absolute dream come true. We're talking about all the high points of it, and as unglamorous as it gets from time to time, it's still like a fairy tale.
For sure. And real quick, I did want to ask, your mentors. Mm-hmm. So how did you meet them? Did you reach out to them online? Did you meet them in the gym? How would somebody in the fitness world go about getting a mentor?
So a lot of them found me online, and because they're at a point in their careers where they're not just coaching like your average client, but coaching coaches, they saw that I was just wanting to help other people. And so they figured if they help me, they're also helping more people. And that's how we connected.
Cool. I like that.
That's really cool. And you talked about the unglamorous side of it. What were some of the hardest things that you've had to deal with building the business?
So I think in life, pardon my language, but everyone's going through shit. We all have our personal issues going on. And then what came with the career that I wasn't anticipating, so the side that people do kind of get to see online, is I didn't realize there would be so much pressure to always be on. And so it's funny, I always try to practice what I preach as a coach because I think that's an important thing to do in life in general. But when you're online, the internet never turns off. It's on 24/7. You never know who's watching you. There's always people watching you. And so I went through a phase of feeling like I almost had to be perfect in a way, even though what I preached was no one's perfect. And so I felt like I couldn't make any mistakes because it would make me look like a bad example to my clients and to my audience. And then over time, growing through that, I realized that is what makes me a better coach, that I'm also human, that I can empathize. We're all just doing our best.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're going to say something. 'Cause
Yeah.
he says the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's because like running a charity, right? For years and years, I felt like I had to be so perfect, and like the pressure was on. I couldn't like dab in a photo. I couldn't have a beer in my hand. I couldn't do any of these things. And a few years ago, when we started building Spread Good Squad, I realized like I don't want to be loved for being the CEO of a charity. I want to be loved for being a good fucking human. You know what I mean? And so I just started being that and being super authentic, and that's why like we drink and we post about it on Instagram, and we talk the way we want to talk, because like it just came with belief in knowing like I'm a good person.
That's
and
the
sometimes
hard
it's hard to
part.
say. Yeah, it's kind of
Right.
like, is that cocky? Is that weird?
Not just that,
like,
but I feel like the good person part is almost the easier part. It's the being a person and being human that's difficult to show
Yes.
for some reason.
Exactly, because then it's like, man, I put so much effort in trying to be perfect, when like just be ourselves and know
No
that
one's-
we're gonna make
no
mistakes.
one's perfect,
Yeah, yeah. And so that's been the clarity I've had, and like that's what's brought me the most happiness and the most like freedom in a
Isn't
way.
it funny how easy it is to treat the people we work with that way, but not treat ourselves that way?
Yep.
Yep.
We know everyone's not perfect, but we all want to be perfect.
Yep.
And social media makes it hard because people are always watching, people are always talking. If you ever say something wrong or do something wrong, if you ever talk about Taylor Swift in a negative way, you're gonna get in trouble.
Hell, we got canceled.
Yeah, I mean, she was saying how she always had to be on, and that was one of the things that I remember. One of our first episodes we were talking about, we always had to be on. You always had to be on. You always had to visit every child, help every kid, and it's just not possible.
Yeah, like you said, there's only one Savi, right? And that's kind of how it got for me. It's like, it was almost like, hey, we're in Houston one day, then we're in Orlando, then we're back in Austin, and then we're back in California, and then we're in the Philippines. And like, I think what fueled the issue is like, we just kept making it happen. Do you know what I mean? So it seemed scalable,
Yeah.
right? But then like you said, like the reality is there's just no way you can do, at least not forever,
Yeah.
you know? And so, yeah, kind of stepping back and reevaluating is so important.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to working out, in which there is a point of overtraining where you're hindering your results. And so if you do things like work smarter and not necessarily always work harder, then you're gaining the most from that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought that up. And I think that's why, I mean, we host this podcast, but this is why I love this podcast, is to have conversations like this. Like, yeah, our Instagrams could look glamorous and whatnot, and that's all real. Like, that's what I also say, like all these pictures on the wall, that's real. Like those things really happen, but there's like hard moments and hard realizations to get there, right? And so being able to talk about that, I think if somebody sees your Instagram and sees how fit you are, they can look up to it and find motivation from it, but they can also know that you're a real human, which I think is so important.
And
Yeah.
self-belief is so important. I think it's something we take for granted, the magic in it. When you can believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing and the steps you're taking, that's where everything unravels and you get to achieve what you're looking for.
Yeah, I love that.
It's huge.
So with your fitness, do you also really, I mean, you have to, but how does food play a part in your fitness training?
Oh my goodness. I love food. So I'm a big foodie. It probably stems from where we live. We're so fortunate to have so much diversity and so much good food. And it's so accessible. And then also growing up in an Asian family, food was often portrayed as a love language. It's how my mom showed us she loved us and would take time for us and care for us, make the foods that we like, and it's a shared experience. I think it's super cool that food is almost like a universal language in which we can all experience the same thing, whether we speak the same language or not, but we're there eating it, enjoying it, and having a good time. And I think that developing a healthy relationship with food is one of the best things that you can do for yourself, because it should be about nourishing your body and taking care of yourself, but it should also be about the other parts, like making yourself happy, being able to enjoy time with your family and friends without guilt and stress, and also learning how to balance it too. You know, anything at extremes isn't very good. And so being able to make that balance between what satisfying cravings or reducing your calories so that you can have those experiences while also obtaining your goals, or even just being able to forgive yourself and give yourself grace when you aren't able to balance all those things.
No, that's huge. And for you, have you ever had trouble balancing the nutrition with like your family and friends?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness. It's been a learning process for me. Even as a fitness coach, my journey is never linear. I mean, I want it to just be like this, but it's like,
Yeah.
oops. And so, yeah, I've definitely struggled there. And so I think what's funny is I had a little transformation. So I'm pretty good at just maintaining my physique or improving it and building my strength and stuff. But I did recently have a period where I definitely was not there, and it affected the way I felt about myself, the way I was treating myself, and then in turn treating the people around me. But I lost, I think, 18 pounds since March or April. And honestly, I'm so fortunate in which, because I'm in the industry and so comfortable with myself, it wasn't necessarily the physique that was bringing me down. It wasn't about body image, but it was more the attachment to why I was going through that and what was happening in that period of my life and how I was reacting to things like stress and sad events and lifestyle changes. And so I learned so much from going through that. And I honestly, this is cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And so I've been able to better empathize with my clients and to genuinely feel what they're feeling, struggle their struggles, and show up as a coach better for them to get them through those periods of their lives that they can relate to.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Because going through hard times, as hard as it is, like you can pull so much from it to be able to empathize with others, get perspective, and become the best version of yourself.
Yeah, but because it was such a physical, tangible thing, like we talked about, it was so easy to see that. And it's almost like I have this attachment to that period of my life whenever I see how I looked before. It's the strongest I've ever been, so that was pretty cool. But it's the memories that come with it that I struggle with even more than the body image.
For sure. And with that, what is like your physique goals annually? Do you like main gain, or do you like do the bulking and cutting thing? What is your schedule usually?
So I'm very into doing things that are sustainable. So I've had bulks and cuts before, but for the majority of my approach, it's called body recomposition. So it's losing body fat and gaining muscle mass. It's a slower process, but I don't mind the slow burn. And I think it's much more sustainable. You can't be in a cut forever. You can't be in a bulk forever, but can you be at maintenance forever? Yeah. And so it just comes into my daily habits and how I want to see my life look for the rest of my life. And so I always say, if it's a diet or a workout that you can't see yourself doing for forever, you probably shouldn't do it at all. So if you hate resistance training, for example, even though I'm biased, I love it. I think it's the best. For both research and wellness reasons. If you hate it, you're not going to be consistent. And if you're not consistent, you're not going to get anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I believe that it should always be about what you love.
Nice. I like that. I mean, I think I struggle with food. I love food. I love beer. It's kind of hard for me to cut it out, but I do know like cutting down and being a little bit better can help. And I think we had a guest a couple episodes ago who was a vegan coach. Mm-hmm. He was talking about how he doesn't expect his clients to be 100% vegan. If they want to be a little bit vegan or a lot vegan, he's open to either way. I think coaches like you guys who are open to working with how a person feels and making sure that person feels good about what they're doing, I think that's really cool, because coming from where I come from, playing sports, people don't really make you feel good. Like if you mess up, you get yelled at. That's my version of coaching from when I was younger. So I really appreciate the version of coaching that you want people to be happy with what they're doing.
Yeah, and I love being a coach for reasons like that, because of all the experiences we've had. So I hope to only positively impact the coaching industry. And when we were growing up, ethical coaching wasn't as big as it is now. It was almost praised to train through injuries. We weren't taught how to properly lift. A bunch of my friends who played football and lifted in high school have permanent knee and shoulder injuries. And the mental part, you were shamed for any mistakes instead of taught how to get through it and get better. And so I think it's such an important goal to have as a coach, is to better the industry, because that sets up the future for so many people.
Yeah.
Big picture.
Yeah.
Big picture. That's really cool. So as you built your fitness business, has any fun collaborations or partnerships with brands that you like come about?
I think it's so cool how much reach that the internet has, and that I've been able to connect with some of my favorite people and brands that I never thought was a thing before. Like I said, I wasn't really on Instagram very much. And so I definitely have some favorites right now. I am working with Caged, but I do genuinely love their supplements. I was using them for a while before I connected with them. I love the ingredients. I love the marketing and the packaging of it too. And I like the quality behind it, because I don't think a lot of people know that things like supplements, for example, aren't FDA tested. And so you can kind of put whatever you want, you kind of say whatever you want about it. So it's like, okay, then I'll pick something that's third party tested. But they don't know that not all third parties are credible. And so like there are so many things that go into it. So I definitely like Caged for that reason. How I connected with them was I saw my friend do a photo shoot with them. It was my friend Amy. And I was like, oh my God, her photos are beautiful. Like, I gotta hype this woman up. And so I commented on the photographer's photo set of her, and I was like, you guys did such a good job. This is amazing. And because I saw his Instagram, I recognized him. So it was like several months later, I ran into him at the gym I go to, Infinite Training Systems. And I was like, I think I know you, but I'm not sure if I know you. And then we connected, and he was like, why don't you come into the office and like, let's chat. And that's how I got connected to Caged. So that's one of my favorites.
That's
nice.
fun.
And I know you talked a little bit about how you choose supplements, like all the research and whatnot. I just go off of reviews online. I don't even know if the reviews are legit. But how would you recommend supplements to like someone like my wife?
I would figure out what her goals are, and I'm huge on educating people. I'm a big nerd, and so I also believe that if you know the whys behind what you're doing, it's a lot easier to stick to it, and it's going to benefit you best that way. So I would figure out what her specific goals and needs are, because supplements still aren't a magic potion. They're not going to work for you if you don't work for it. And so I think it's important to see where there's room for supplements in your life, and then figure out what ingredients support that, and then also learn what doses are going to be effective. Because just because something has creatine in it, for example, the most well-researched supplement, that doesn't mean it has an effective enough dose. And so if you're taking 1 gram of creatine per day, you are taking more creatine, but is it going to support what you want out of creatine? No.
Nice. So you're really into the science of all of it. How did you learn that? Were you self-taught or?
So I got my NASM, NSCA, and strong lifting certification. And I also learned through a lot. I learned probably a bulk of what I know through my coach. So he has over 30 years of experience. And I'm super big on being aware of the fact that there's always room to grow. So even when I'm at his point, 30 years of experience, being in the strength and conditioning world, having tons of clients and stuff, I think there's always going to be more to learn, because research is always emerging. I might not agree with what I'm saying today in 10 years, even 5 years maybe. And I think it's naive to think otherwise, kind of in every area of life, honestly.
Yeah. New information. You got to change the way things go.
Right. And even though I'm an expert to my clients, people like him are an expert to me.
Yeah.
And that's cool that you stay so open-minded because, again, that's how you keep learning and growing. So,
Do you have any other favorite fitness products, whether it's clothing, supplements?
So that's my favorite supplement brand, or that is my favorite supplement brand. For things like protein bars, I love Bearbells. They're, I hate to mention other products, but the macros are almost identical to the protein bars of Quest, which is a huge company, been around forever. I admire them a lot, but the taste is so much better. That's why I brought some for you guys.
Okay, is that what you brought? Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to
I'm
try
so
one.
excited for you guys to try. It's like a candy bar. I almost feel like I feel guilty when I eat them for
like a
breakfast.
cheat.
I'm like, am I eating a Snickers bar? But it's awesome. And then in terms of clothes, I have some favorite brands. I think that dressing up in the gym can definitely improve your performance, just like how dressing up outside of the gym improves our confidence. And so if you feel good when you look good, you're going to improve. So I have some favorites. I like Lift Fit and Change Fate the most. What I love about them is their quality, the performance of the materials, the way they look and feel on my body. And I also love the lifestyle behind them too and their brand missions. So that's what I like for clothes. We covered supplements. I guess for equipment, that's gym related. I like BC Strength, which is Brett's company, and I like Rogue. I'm not sure whose that is, but what I love about them is they're very high quality pieces for a price that's lower than their competitors. And I like their customer service a lot. I'm really big on culture.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, really cool.
So like bands and
So things like bands, weights, power racks, barbells, everything.
cool. Got to get a rack in here.
Yeah. And we got to make some clothes. We got to make some spread good gym wear.
I like it. I like it.
Do you guys have any gym wear yet?
Not yet.
Got the hoodies.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got the hoodies. These
And
are on
the-
sale now.
Yeah, the new crews. I've been wearing this to like kind of like just warm ups.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I like the hats that you guys picked too, the 5-panel.
Thank you.
It's flattering. I think they are so much better than dad hats.
Yep. Yeah, I used to wear a lot of dad hats. And
Same.
then I started getting into like truckers, and so when we came up with this line, kind of like how you do your coaching, it's like we wanted to create something that like represents us but feels good. It's good quality, and then it's like what people are gonna enjoy wearing, and like feel good in.
I love that it represents you guys, but it isn't about you guys. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. So before we let you go, you got your awesome digital coaching company. You're doing a lot here in Orange County. What's next for you?
I am so excited for this. So I've had my personal training, my online coaching, and next on the list is opening up my own gym. So I'm so
Huge.
hyped for that. It will be based off of my coach's gym. So Brett Contreras' Glute Lab. It's a world famous gym. Right now he's in Fort Lauderdale, Las Vegas, and San Diego. So I'll be opening one in Orange County, and it's going to focus on the art and science of strength and physique and creating a culture in the gym where women can build off of each other, feel inspired by each other, support each other, and feel comfortable in a space that is so male dominated. And so I just hope to empower and inspire people to become better versions of themselves through it.
Wow. Well, congrats, first of all.
Thank you.
And that is exciting. We're looking forward to watching this journey unfold. And until then, where can people find you online?
So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Savi Win, and my online coaching is saviwincoaching.com, and it's pretty easy to navigate, so you can find me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come spread some good with us, educate us a little bit, and share what you do with all of our community.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for all that you guys do. I appreciate being on the show. I think it's such a privilege.
Thank you. Thank you. And until next time, guys, if you liked what you heard, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and
Smash the bell.
grab your crew, the hats, the hoodies. Sweats are done Friday, so get those orders in now. Thank you for supporting the line. And until next time, spread good, baby.